Hey, what's up, people? What's going on? What's going on? It's the Black Quarterback Forum. Me and my man Smeez.
What up, what up?
BQF, Black Quarterback Forum, YouTube channel, and blackquarterbacksineffect.com. So it is week 1 is in the books. We're going to talk about that and a little bit about week 2, which is right around the corner, right? Tomorrow, Eagles, Vikings. Yeah, Vikings on the road at the Eagles for tomorrow. So as far as week 1 go, we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about the QBR a lot. We just looking at that. It's very interesting. I'm sure you've heard of it, maybe done your own research on it, and just some other things. And, of course, cover the black quarterbacks and their stats and so forth and so on. So let me just tell you what the quarterback, the QBR, I'll just kind of summarize it. It was something created by ESPN. It's their proprietary statistical analysis, basically. So QBR incorporates all of a quarterback's contributions to winning, including how he impacts the game on passes, rushes, turnovers, and penalties. Since QBR is built from the play level, it accounts for a team's level of success or failure on every play to provide the proper context, then allocates credit to the quarterback and his teammates to produce a clearer measure of a quarterback's efficiency. It was created to be a more meaningful alternative to the passer rating, but has been met with criticism among fans and commentators alike. And we're gonna give you some examples of why it's hilarious. Okay, it is. So with that being said, last week, Aaron Rodgers got hurt this past Monday, and basically that's all they've been talking about, right, Smeez? That's it. So, we're going to talk about it, and just get past it. But I told Smeez before we started, to me, it's like sports karma, football karma coming back to him because, like I told you, it was a one website called yardbarker.com. They had this big mural of him up there just like he was baby Jesus and all that. And I just think football said, we don't need you. You know what I'm saying? But here, I want the best players on the teams, so when they lose, there's no excuse. But anyway, it is what it is. He's out, and all the hopes for the Jets is gone. I was joking with Smeez earlier, so I guess you don't get your money back from Vegas if you bet the Jets to win the Super Bowl. You just shit out of luck, right? Yep. Good luck with that shit. It's over with. So,
the one interesting thing about the QBR rating, and they compare it to the quarterback rating, and as you see, it's either high and low. But as we go through some of these numbers, you'll see, and again, as we go through them, just drop comments. Let us know what you think in regards to kind of who you think had the better days and QBR ratings.
So we're going to give you some weird examples.
So this week, in honor of next week's game, Cincinnati-Baltimore, I had to honor and wear the best Cincinnati Bengal wide receiver, my man Ed Reed, best Cincinnati Bengal wide receiver. Check out my Facebook page. You'll see it. Highlights of him. I think he had 15 interceptions against the Bengals over his career. But big ups to my man, Ed the Man.
Okay. So, and then I got Deshaun Watson when he was at Houston. I like this. It's got gold trim. It looks different. So you can't even really tell it's Deshaun Watson, but it is. But anyway, from last week, I was on Cleveland getting in that ass at Cincinnati. That was the one thing. I always joking.
Week 1, since week 1, you've been saying that.
I always jokingly tell people I can call one thing about the NFL each week. There's just so much going on. I don't try to be accurate on everything. But I can usually say one thing is pretty accurate.
And Jordan Love.
I like my man Jordan Love. Yes, I'm going to get to him in a minute when we start going over the QBs. But, yes, I can't wait to buy his jersey. Another thing about jerseys, y'all want to contribute a jersey, feel free. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got them all. Trust me, I ain't got nowhere near them. I got old quarterbacks, but I ain't got none young bucks.
New rookies.
Right. So, with that being said, we can get to it. Unless you got some more comments about this past week. Dallas beat that ass. New York ain't got shit to say.
This past week was surprising. I feel like there was a lot of upsets. A lot of teams that you thought, the Minnesota game was quite surprising. Very surprising. The 49ers game was very surprising. Not that the 49ers won, but the style and fashion in which they won. You know what I mean? Seattle, that game was shocking.
Oh, my God.
If you didn't see the video, watch the clip. Geno Smith getting chased down by Aaron Donald. That's a real vision of what it's like when these big boys out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what you got to deal with. But after that, now let's kind of just get into these quarterbacks, kind of see what they did, talk about the week, and a couple things for the upcoming week.
I'm going to put it out there first and foremost. Jordan Love had the best day in the NFC of the black quarterbacks, right? If you saw that game, he controlled that game. He looked like, at one point, the announcer even said, Aaron Rodgers. That's what he said. Who has he been watching for 3 years? Aaron Rodgers. Who is he going to emulate? Aaron Rodgers. So, anyway, he was 15 for 27 for 245 yards, 9.1 average. So he was throwing the ball down the field, not dinking and dunking, not looking for that check down. 3 TDs, 0 INT. Now, he was sacked one time for 8 yards. He had 3 rushes for 12 yards. Now, here's these interesting stats that we talked about, that we just described, the QBR thing. His QBR was 73.3, and his quarterback rating was 123.2. Now, I'm just going to go over some other ones. I just wanted to talk about him first. I'm going to come back to Jordan, but in comparison, and I'll put it out there, and then I'll get to the rest of the black quarterbacks. But Brock Purdy, he had lower numbers across the board, but his quarterback rating was 99.1, and his passer rating was lower than Jordan's. So that's where this QBR gets skewed. And I just use Brock Purdy as an example. We got other ones, but I know his team won. San Fran looked dominant. So it's crazy with it. But so that was the best of the black quarterbacks in the NFC, Jordan Love stat. Now, he played against Justin Field, who he might be a perennial backup. He just don't seem to be getting it as well. I mean, this is second year as a starter, right? He started all last year, right?
Yeah.
So,
yep.
Yeah. So, and they did some things, and I was telling Smeez before, I've heard some people make comments about how they don't really support not just him as a quarterback, but the quarterback in general from their past history. They don't go out and get the receivers. They draft a lot of defense. They tough. They want to come across as hard running team. But anyway, his numbers were not that great. 24 for 37, 216 yards, 5.8 average, 1 TD, 1 INT, which is a pick six. Pick six kills. No matter when you have a pick six, it looks bad. It's never a good look. He was
and generally results in a loss as we follow up, because I believe, what did they lose by?
It was more than it was like 38-14, 38-21, something like that. It wasn't the pick six wasn't the issue. It wasn't the issue. And he had a quarterback rating of 21.6, really low. Of course, they lost. And a QBR of 21.6, and a quarterback rating of 78.2. Not great, right? My man Jalen Hurts, the Eagles did win, but the second half of that game, they didn't look so hot. But, they started off good. He was 22 for 33, 170 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 INTs. He was sacked 3 times for 16 yards. His QBR, 36.3. And his quarterback rating was 89.2, and his average per pass was 5.2. Had 9 rushing attempts for 37 yards. So, see these QBR and ratings. Team won. Remember, and the team wins, but his is really low. So, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay, here's my man Geno. I thought Geno would get off to a better start. The Rams, that arm on the other quarterback is fresh. We'll see how he looks in week 16, 17. But Geno and them, they supposed to have a good D, but his numbers are very suspect. 16 for 26. I did pick Geno, throw a lot of touchdown passes, but we'll see. He had 1 TD, 0 INTs, 112 yards. He barely reached 100. We talking about that, huh? The 100-yard mark.
100 yards minimum for a quarterback.
He barely reached 100. 112 yards, 4.3 average. He was sacked 2 times for 17 yards. His QBR was 44.4.
Better than Jalen Hurts.
Better than Jalen Hurts. Wow. Yeah. And so, at a rating of 84.1, 1 rush for 6 yards, and the screen, too. Can't forget the screen. Oh, my God. You can't forget that. So, now let's get to who we had. The rookies, Bryce Young or Ritter is a second-year player. They were saying Ritter didn't look that good. I tried to watch all the highlights of that game. I'm sorry, I didn't get to see all of them. But Bryce Young, 20 for 38. He's going to be throwing that much. He don't really have no running game there.
Well, running back's injured, receivers injured right now.
Wow.
I mean, 38 is a lot of attempts with no receivers.
Yeah, 146 yards, average 3.8. He's not really moving the ball down the field. 3.8 yards pass. No.
Short passes. What we talked about earlier. A lot of short passes.
He was sacked 2 times for 19-yard loss. His QBR was 14.5. Wow. That's terrible. 48. I mean, he's a rookie, though. 48.8 was his rating. 1 TD, 2 picks, and 3 rushes for 17 yards. And then Ritter, who they said didn't look great, 115. He was 15 for 18, 115 yards, that 100-yard mark. 115 yards. 6.4. He's moving a little bit further down the field, but he was 4 for 24, sacked 4 times for 24-yard loss, I should say. His QBR was 28.8, and he won the game. And his rating was 111.8. That 1 TD, 0 picks, and 1 for minus 1 yard rushing. And he had a QBR of 28.8. And I checked that and double checked that. See, the QBR is weird. And he's got something this is interesting. And then a couple more. And it was Dobbs with the Cardinals, 132 yards. Does it matter here? I mean, are the Cardinals going to win a game? What week are they going to win a game?
I mean, I was kind of projecting the Rams, but the Rams look like they formidable opponent now too.
So
it's this, they might catch somebody off a bye week or catch somebody with some injuries. So it's going to be interesting.
So we're talking about how each week get even more important if you continue to lose, right? So all these teams want to know.
Yeah.
Both the Giants come to town to play the Cardinals. I say come to town because we in Arizona.
Yeah.
They come here. So that game. And the Giants paid their quarterback a lot of money, right? So
past year,
I think the Cardinals are going to beat the Giants. I think the Cardinals are going to beat the Giants. That's the one I'm calling Cardinals. They're going to beat the Giants. The Giants need that game. But Joshua Dobbs, hopefully he does better. Okay, he was 21 for 30, 132 yards, 4.4 average. He was sacked 3 times for 18-yard loss. QBR 21.6, rating of 78.8. 0 TDs, 0 picks.
The one thing about Joshua Dobbs, though, in those 3 sacks, 2 of them resulted in fumbles.
Did they?
That they did not get back.
Wow.
The Cardinals in the first half, as you say, the Giants, like I still like the Giants in that game, but the Cardinals in the first half only ran 27 plays on offense. Second half, they only ran 34 plays.
Oh, that's right. You have $1 million.
So they got 50. They got 51 total plays in the entire game. So that's 10 plays a quarter almost. 12 plays a quarter.
That's not enough.
That's not enough play. That's not even. Most teams will put together a 10 to 15 play drive.
I took my man Dobbs from him.
10 to 15 play drive. But that was the big takeaway with Dobbs was he did fumble twice and killed 2 drives by getting sacked fumble. Both by Sweat, the defensive end for Washington.
Oh, he was good in college.
Yeah. He was good yesterday or Sunday too. 2 sack fumbles.
Oh, yeah, that's good. And then finally, on the NFC side, I got Lamar because we all know he's a big-time Raven fan. He just didn't feel like he talked about Lamar objectively. I had to look up those words, objectively and subjectively, before today was a very different day. I didn't do my normal work, and my day took on a whole different flow. But anyway, I love Lamar. I didn't wear that jersey today. I don't think I wore it yet, but I love Lamar. He didn't have such a great day, though. He was 17 for 22, 169. I didn't see the highlights, but he had 7.7 average, I see. So he was moving the ball down the field, huh? How he look good?
Yes and no. He had a couple 20 plus catches, but a lot of it was the yards after catch.
Exactly.
Like Zay Flowers had, I want to say, 50 yards after the catch, which was a Ravens rookie record for the first game. Shout out, Zay.
Okay. So his QBR, oh, goodness, is this right? 13.6?
13.6.
Oh, Jesus.
But Lamar did have a fumble. He did have an interception. He did have some bad sacks. So, you know what I mean? On third down, that resulted in
he was
punts.
4 yeah. Sacked 4 times. Yeah.
I'm figuring all of that might play into the QBR. But that QBR analogy or definition was real vague. Like, I would like to really see what goes into that. You know what I mean? Because a QBR of 13.6, I mean, you only missed 5 passes. You threw for 150. As you saw, it was a low day. I mean,
you minus the because they minus the sack.
Sometimes they minus the sack.
So, he had 79.9 rating, though. 6 for 38 rushing. Yeah. He did 1 INT. Yeah, see, that's crazy. But they won the game. To me, that's the biggest stat. They woke up there off the field with the dub, right? That's the biggest stat. So the QBR, you know what I mean? Okay. And Cowboys and Dak, right? Dak didn't. Okay. I know you're probably. Before the season started, I'm riding around in my car thinking about football since we started all of this, right? That's all I do, thinking about football. Not like I didn't think about football before. I think about football all the time now. I mean, literally, when I'm not working or sleeping or eating or other things. Anyway, so I'm saying to myself, Dak will probably have games just like the Cowboys had, where he don't have to do much. He 0 touchdowns, 0 INT, 143 yards, 13 for 24, 6-yard average, 0 sacks. I mean, right? QBR, his QBR and rating was almost the same.
72.
Right, 72.
72 QBR.
And 72 rating.
Not even 150 passing.
Right.
No touchdowns, no interceptions. But the key is no interceptions, no sacks, no fumbles.
Right. So they're going to have those games where the defense came up big, right, special teams, and Dak just have to manage it. If y'all watch my videos, or our videos, I should say, you know what I said about Dak. Dak's just got to win. He got to beat San Francisco, right? That's their nemesis right now. Dak's nemesis. They got to beat San Francisco or whoever in the championship, conference championship. That's it. So they're going to have those pretty games like this. And then Dak's going to have games where he throw for 303 touchdowns. Yeah. Right? Obviously, they're going to have those games. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to.
I'm just worried on that 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Is that also going to be 2-3 picks? And that's going to put you in position to lose the game. That's the one concern with the Cowboys.
There you go.
That's the one concern.
Well, that's it for the NFC quarterbacks.
Coming over to the AFC, to start it off, Thursday night pretty much kicked off the season. Interesting matchup. We had our boy Jared Goff. We're going to keep saying our boy Jared Goff. He just seems to make a way in every single video. But we got Jared Goff matching up against Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes, that was a very interesting game on a lot of different levels, a lot of different aspects. Mahomes overall was 21 for 39, which would be 53%. To me, as long as you over 50%, you halfway there. You really want to be about 60% in the NFL completion rate. But he was 53%, 21 of 39. The interesting factor is he had 8 drops. If you add those 8 drops in as completions, which should be a completion, that would have made his completion percentage 74%. That would have took away a pick 6, which would probably resulted in a win. That would have killed 2 fourth-quarter drives that could have resulted in points for a win. His total average still with that was 5.8 yards, passing for 226. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception at the end of the day. Sometimes quarterbacks, you throw them, sometimes you earn them. That time, he didn't really earn it, but he earned that one because he plays the quarterback position. Right off Tony hands, other one, pick 6 out of there. But overall, as we speak about QBRs, QBR is 70.5. 70.5? 70.5. Wow. Quarterback rating, 77.5. The line doesn't look good. He's scrambling a lot. It seems like he almost looks a lot like Russell did last year. Right at goal, you got a jailbreak going on. And honestly, I don't feel the Chiefs have a wide receiver in that wide receiver room at this point. So they got a lot of work cut out for him.
Tony.
I mean, he just got to learn how to catch. Hoping for him. He just can't go 5 yards down the field.
I know.
Just keep him 5 yards and short, he'll be all right.
No, once you go 6 or deeper, 20 yards down the field.
No, he can't catch that.
I would have had the jump going at him all day. You don't go nowhere. You just stand right here all day until we tell you to leave.
But they receivers scared of contact.
I know you.
When you're dropping balls in the middle of the field, the contact makes those drops happen. I give him one. The receiver cut in front. You lost track of the ball. I give you that drop. But Mahomes, I still feel like is going to play great. But that's part of coming into the season why I didn't really pick Mahomes in a lot of my awards. That receiver room, Mahomes is great, but you can only be so good. You know, eventually a turd is a turd no matter how much you shine. And that receiving room is turds. Moving on to Denver, we got Russ. And at this point, It's just not cooking. It's just not cooking, not smelling good. The building may be on fire. Building may be on fire. The numbers, in typical Russ fashion, the numbers look good, but the taste is awful. 27 for 34, 177 yards, 5.2 yards per pass. Again, as we spoke, you want to average about 6.5 yards, little less than what the average is last year, but right there. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, sacked 2 times for 11 yards. That QBR is 74.7. 74.7 with the loss. QB rating was 108.
Wait, this is 74.7. That's what they picked somewhere.
Now, the first drive, some of that too, though. The first drive, he did complete 2 third down kind of long passes, and that first drive did result in a touchdown.
But they lost, though, right?
But they did lose the game. They did lose the game. And they weren't really productive on offense. Not a lot of yards, as you see, not a lot of rushing. They just were stagnant. Okay. But, again, Russ is going to give you that stat line. It looks good, like, hey, it's not me. But at the end of the day, in the NFL, if you're not winning, whose fault is it? Quarterback. Period, point blank. The next one up, my rookie of the year, I feel like, Richardson, Indiana. He honestly kept Indiana in that game. The first 2 drives, 3 and out. And they got faith in him out there in Indiana because the first 3 drives were all passes. Pass. As I said, he's trying to stay in that pocket. He's trying to find that receiver downfield. And his receivers, Pittman Jr., like, you forgot he even played for the Colts. He actually had 80-some yards receiving. Receivers look like receivers now with Richardson out there. So he's staying in there trying to get rid of the ball. And then that third drive, he pretty much came down, start taking off a little bit. Again, he's got to find that easy medium. Like, look for it when it's there, but when it ain't there, don't be afraid to take off and go because that's part of your game. Don't limit your tools and don't use the tools you got available to you.
Yeah, like he can do it, though.
That third drive, he kind of, okay, it ain't there, let me take off. They move, picking up first downs, ultimately caps it in with a rushing touchdown. But on the day, 24 for 37, you know what I'm saying, you only missed 13 passes. That's good for 37 attempts to only miss 13. That's a good day. 223 yards, 6 yards per pass. He got good. Got past 100 yards, almost got to 225. He had one touchdown, one interception.
Like he going to be able to do it.
But this the kicker. He played well. He had 10 rushes for 40 yards. That one rushing touchdown we talked about. But his QBR was 23.4.
Wow.
23.4. And I get they lost by 10 points, but he had the Colts in that game all the way up into the last 4 possessions. And then he threw that interception, and then he got the turnover on downs. They ended up losing by 2 points. But he had them in a position to where they could have actually came back and pulled off an upset and beat Jacksonville. Everybody probably has Jacksonville favored in that division. He could have pulled off a stunning upset there on opening day.
Right.
You know what I mean? But, again, I still feel he's going to be the best of the 3. I said going into week 1, he's the most pro-ready, and I think his performance on the field on Sunday did perform. Now, again, I think going to my next man, C.J. Stroud probably had the toughest competition. Going on the road to Baltimore against that defense, but I still feel like Stroud made leaps and bounds improvements. He was 28 for 44, 242 yards passing, 5.5 yards per catch or per pass, averaging. He had no touchdowns, no interceptions. He was sacked 5 times. He was under I saw the game. He was under duress the entire game, like pretty much. But there was, if you go back and get a chance to look at it, drive number 3, drive number 6, and I believe it was drive number 8. All 3 of those resulted in field goal drives. He actually took them down the field, made some plays, stood in the pocket, took some hits, you know what I mean? But I could see it. You know, there wasn't really any dumb mistakes, anything like that, no turnovers, which is always good to see. It's no fumbles, even with being sacked 5 times. A couple of them with backside sacks you didn't even see coming. But he had a QBR of 21.2 with a overall rating of 78. So he actually had a better overall rating than Patrick Mahomes, but his QBR was 50 points lower.
QBR, these numbers are insane.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, to me, the best performance of all of Sunday from the quarterback position. And again, I said my prediction, most passing yards, Tua. My man, Tua Tagovailoa. Tua ended up 28 for 45, 466 yards passing, average of 10.4 yards per pass, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Wasn't sacked at all. Had a QBR of 87.5 with the passer rating of 110. The one thing with Tua on that first drive, got to the goal line, fumbled right on the goal line. Can't have those type of fumbles. You got to get those points. But in the same token, Tua, I feel like as long as he's on the field and kicking, he's a winner, and he can make some things happen because he made up for that opening drive fumble. When it came to crunch time, 2 possessions for the Dolphins, 2 possessions for the Chargers. Tua punched in points both times. Our man Herbert couldn't get it done on the back end.
Yeah, Tua got the cheetah. Well, cheetah calls himself a lion now.
Lion.
But man, Tua on those 3-step drops, ain't nobody better than him.
No, he getting it out.
Man,
getting out.
I rewatched that game,
and it's coming out quick.
Precision.
It's coming out quick.
Man, I was like, man, ain't nobody better than him right now with that. I'm like, damn. So that's why I call him Tua in the track team.
Yes.
Because
definitely. But yeah, Tua, I just felt like that offense, 17 games, like just the yards going to be. I don't know about everything else, touchdown passes, this, that, the other, but I feel like Tua is good for 350 yards per game passing. Running game wasn't really there, decent run game, but at the end of the day, they're going to go as far as Tua arm and Tua legs keeping him on the field.
Well, I initially picked the Jets to win the East, so since Aaron Rodgers ain't on the Jets no more, or
you want to come to my bandwagon? I picked the Dolphins.
Well, I'm picking the Dolphins now, too.
I picked the Dolphins.
I think everybody gets a redo on that, except
I picked the Dolphins with Aaron Rodgers in play.
Okay, I feel you, genius. I feel you. But I'm saying for us who want to redo with the Jets because of Aaron Rodgers, in my book, you get a redo. Except in Vegas. I guess you can't get your money back from Vegas. But even if you picked them on your fantasy, I guess you fucked there, too. Sorry. But, hey, but everybody else, you can pick a different team to win that conference or division.
But yeah, I mean, hey, we still got a chance in Brady. That's the joke. It means if y'all need to see it, Kaepernick probably come in and get it done.
Kaepernick too.
But to finish it up, the last game, Cleveland, I kind of saved this one for last. I mean, in a sense, because of my man Al predicting Cleveland with the upset. I feel like the weather might have had something to do with that a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah, because Deshaun was throwing some. My man,
he was playing bounce passes.
Right. Yeah,
he was playing
somebody
too far out there.
You can't be. He was throwing a lot of bounce passes. So I thought at one point, was the ball heavy? Was it? I was like, is the ball heavy or was it wet? Because I was like, this is not basketball, man. but Burrow played with the same ball too, people.
But the thing about it, Watson was 16 for 29. Just over 50% completion, 154 passing yards, 5.3 yards per attempt, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He was sacked 3 times for 10 yards, QBR of 65.8. QB overall rating of 67.3. So he's one of the few. Him and Dak are 2 of the quarterbacks where they're almost identical in QBR and overall quarterback rating. Like, they're almost identical between the two, and both of them had decent days. Didn't really win or lose for the team. You know what I mean?
Right.
Deshaun Moore kind of a little bit tried to cost him some games, a fumble, interception, but he got the touchdown to make up for it. But neither one of them was really a factor in any of those games. The rest of the games, all these quarterbacks kind of played a part. Dobbs, you know what I mean? You got a defensive touchdown with a fumble. You come back and give up 2 fumbles. Like, Cardinals could have actually started off 1-0, which would have shocked the world. Shocked the world. The Cardinals would have started off 1-0. Would have made the Commanders think about rechanging their name again, because they wouldn't be in command of anything.
Yo, I love it. So you want to give the people one gem for next week? I'm gonna give them 2, but I'm gonna give them 2.
My gem for next week, kind of looking at it next week, the one thing that I'm finding, I'm kind of a believer in the Love. I know there's a lot of Falcons fans. I kind of feel like Love is going to go out there and make something happen. So I do feel like I like Love next week, but my one pick, My upset pick, even though I picked Anthony Richardson for the quarterback of the year, I'm going to take Houston, or rookie quarterback of the year. I'm going to take Houston with an upset over Indiana. That's my one. C.J. Stroud will get his first game in the rookie-on-rookie matchup.
Okay. And I'm going with the Cardinals, people. Cardinals going to do it. Giants going to be so desperate. They're going to make mistakes. It's desperation mode already. But Jordan Love going to have a good game in Atlanta. I think that's where they play, in Atlanta, in the ATL. He going to go in there in the dome. But I can't wait to see Jordan Love against a hostile enemy. He done already whooped one in the Bears. I can't wait to see when he go in Detroit and Minnesota, see how he plays. So with that being said, people, is it for this week, right, baby? Come on now, get at us now. We know y'all love football. We know it. So don't act like y'all don't got nothing to say. If your team loses in New York or Cincinnati or Buffalo,
90-2.
Don't get mad at us or Chargers, wherever y'all reside at. The other LA team won, right? Okay, so y'all got something to say, right? Come on now. Get at us.
All right.
Next week.